Hi, welcome back, guys, to the Rite of Passage podcast.
Episode 3.
There we go. Today, we want to talk about some jobs and careers and different things and how you can find a mentor. Because we all know that in today's world, it's a little bit hard to learn on your own. It is a lot more helpful when you have somebody that has a little bit more experience to you to help you guide you on your journey on whatever it may be, whether you want to do something or whether you want to learn how to be better at a specific skill. Usually a mentor is there to help you out. So we'll talk a little bit about these things today.
Yeah, so we're gonna dive in straight to talk about career wise, because both of us are in college, we're making decisions where, we want to dive into a career, not just like a normal job, because, you went through a lot of tough times, and, in college with exams, assignments, and so you want to find a career that you enjoy, not just a career where you're just gonna waste your life, like a 9 to 5 job that you hate so much. You want to find something that really brings out the best in you, and that's something that we want to talk a little bit in depth on how you can like what you should look for in a career that works well for you.
Yeah. So for me personally, one of my passions is cooking. I love cooking food. I love eating food especially. That's why I'm still a little bit fat, even though I'm working on that slowly but surely. But I wanted to do something cooking or something with culinary, things like that. So when I first came out to college, that's what I did. I went out and I started looking for any and every job that involved some kind of cooking. I didn't care what it was. I didn't care if I was a dishwasher in a restaurant or if I was just serving food or whatever. I went out like that. So I wanted to find something that fit into my passion. And for me, that's worked out really well so far. Like, I absolutely love the job that I have now. It's definitely not something that I'll be in for the rest of my life, but it's a very good stepping stone, especially as I'm in my senior year of college right now. So I definitely think find something that you're passionate about and try and connect it into the workplace. Granted, that's not always possible, but it's definitely something to look for, I guess. You definitely want to follow your passion because then that makes it a lot easier to work and do whatever you want.
Correct. I think adding on to what Lennon said, I think one thing about finding a career is about being able to, find something that's related to you, something that you're really passionate about. There's a difference between just like doing the work and really loving the work. Like doing the work, it could just be you doing the work because you need to pay your bills, right? And it's not a bad thing, but how long would that actually last? Because when you just do the work, the motivation to learn, the motivation to want to improve is just not there. But for example, I love eating. I'm not a great cook, but I'm also working in the kitchen. I've been there for about about almost 10 months now, right? And so, when at first I was just doing the work, but right now I'm loving the work. I'm trying my best to learn and improve to be a better cook, not just at work but also at home because I'm married and I need to impress my wife every single time, and so cooking is one of it. It's one way to impress her, and so it's all about loving the job and loving what you are passionate about, just like what Landon said. Because without that passion, you're not really making the best out of working, right? And I believe that we don't just be put here on the earth just to work your life out, but if you're working, and make the best out of your work, because it's gonna take like quarter or even half of your day away, and so just like those little things really does add up if you think about it.
Yeah, I really like what Daryl said. So it's like, yeah, definitely find something that you're passionate about. Also find something that'll help you grow. Like there's no point in getting a job that is something that you may love, but you'll never grow in that job. You'll never learn in that job, or you'll never become more self-sufficient in that job. I think it's really important to find something that allows you to have that growth opportunity in order to build yourself and improve yourself every single day. And sometimes that might mean taking a job that pays a little bit less at the very beginning, but I promise you that if you are passionate about that job and it allows you to grow, that pay will increase. It'll go and you'll be able to build up to an income that'll be able to help and sustain you personally. So I feel like a lot of it is being able to love what you do, and if you love what you do, you'll want to grow and become better at what you do. You'll want to improve, you'll seek on your own time to become better in every single aspect of that, and then people will start to notice and they'll start to take care of you. That's kind of like me. Like when I first started, I started minimum wage as a line cook, just doing whatever I want, and then over the past few years, because I love what I do, because I love cooking, I've worked up to a sous chef here, which has really helped me out, and I've been able to financially support myself and my wife out here in college. But yeah, definitely find something that you really love, that you care about, that you want to learn more about, and then make sure that that job offers you the opportunities to become better and to reach newer levels that will hopefully give you new skills, especially managerial skills and things like that.
Yeah, and just to add a little more on what Leonard expounded, I think it's all about, when you talk about career, we want to talk a little bit about taking risk as well. Just because a lot of people, because they're so comfortable with where they are, they're like saying, well, this job pays me pretty good. Well, I'm not necessarily I love it. I'm passionate about it, but I'm doing it because it's about the money. But how far can money take you? To be honest, because you know, I'm sure there'll be days where you just wake up and be like, what am I doing? Like, will money actually buy happiness? Because at that point, I don't think money gonna buy you happiness. Maybe just for a short bit, but it's not gonna last. Like for right now, a little bit background on me. I did professional wrestling, so I did, WWE, but I did in Malaysia, and so I was at the peak. So I started off as like an opening match, so it's like the bottom of the card, and I slowly worked my way out to the main event. I became champion in Malaysia, but then when I came to Hawaii, I started bottom. Like my match was like the shortest among the rest of the match, but I knew that I needed to take that step because it's all about learning. Well, it's not necessarily my career, but it's my journey to being able to be the best. I need to start. I need to put in the time, and I need to, risk it. I can't just say, hey, I want to be the main event because I had experience. You gotta constantly learn and improve because that's all part of life. Especially when we talk about career, is that it's all about being able to learn, adapt, and being able to take the risk and say, hey, well, if I'm gonna be someone great, like I'm the second Malaysian that I've ever wrestled here in the United States or even outside of Southeast Asia, and that's a big achievement, right? When you look at it that sense, I may be a low match right now here in Hawaii, but I'm taking that step to slowly work my way up, and that's about taking risks. High risk, high reward. If you're not willing to take the risk, then don't complain of not being able to see the high reward. I'm sure Landon took a risk, especially working for boss that's pretty crazy and demanding at times.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You need to take a risk in order to help move yourself a little bit forward sometimes. And sometimes you need to take a risk and put yourself in an uncomfortable position. So I'll share a little bit of my story. When I first started in college, I started out as a job. I was working on a buffet line. Didn't really love it, but there's this restaurant out here that I heard there's this chef who's absolutely insane. He was on Food Network, things like that, but I heard that he was worse than Gordon Ramsay. But I don't know why, but I just wanted to go work for this guy. I wanted to go see what it was like. So I transferred.
Probably a bad mistake, but
Yeah, it was definitely a risk because the buffet job was easy. I didn't enjoy it, but yeah, I got paid. It was whatever. But I took this risk. I went to that kitchen, and frick, my interview was ridiculous. Like, I went in there thinking that I knew what was up. I knew food. Like, I came fresh out of high school. I did some culinary competitions. I was feeling good. I was like that confident freshman going in. And this dude just destroyed me in an interview. He called me an idiot. He told me that I should never have cooked. Honestly, I felt so stupid. Like, I totally bombed that interview, and halfway through, he's like, dude, have you watched freaking Chopped? I'm like, yeah, I watched Chopped. He's like, all right, go to my kitchen. You have 30 minutes. Make me the best meal of your life with whatever you see back there. Like, I've never been in that kitchen. I didn't know what was there. I didn't even know what I was doing. Like, I barely knew how to cook back then. Like, looking back at it, made this dude like some crappy salad with shrimp, took it into him after like 45 minutes of cooking, and he looked at me and he's like,
well, first of all, he gave you 30 minutes, right? So that's already
that's
a big no. Just
yeah,
like a
I
whole
freaking failed. I spent way too much time and I only made a freaking salad. It was terrible. But I take it into this guy's office. I give him the plate with the salad and the shrimp, and he's just sitting there, and he used some colorful words. I won't go that much, but he's just like, what the frick is this? I'm like, it's a salad with shrimp. And I explained it, and he tasted it. He's like, this is horrible. I hate this. Like, you overcook the shrimp, the salad's terrible, like, nothing works here. And I'm like, well, shoot, like, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't say anything. Like, I just got destroyed by this guy. And I just shook his hand. I'm like, thank you for the opportunity. And I left.
And I'm out.
Yeah, frick. I never thought that I'd get that job. But, you know, in the kitchen, like, there's such a high turnover rate. They need anybody. If you want to work in the kitchen, they'll probably hire you anywhere. But a few days later, I got hired in, went to the job. I worked for the first week or so. Everything seemed all right. It was stressful. I didn't really see the chef a whole lot in my first few weeks. But then there was one day I worked a freaking lunch service. Lunch service in our restaurant was insane. We have a tiny little restaurant, but we're serving about 600 people in just like 2 hours.
Shoot.
So we're just pumping out food back and forth. It was crazy. And while I'm there, the chef is on the hot plate. He's sitting there yelling off the orders, telling us what to do. And it was going downhill. Like, we fell so far behind. He was swearing at us. We were sending raw burgers, and he was throwing it at us, throwing it on the floor. It was legit. It was like Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. He was like, I have never seen somebody get hit by a burger in the face while they're cooking a burger until that day. It was, yeah.
Right, man.
I've never seen somebody so mad, but made it through that lunch service. I'm like, all right, whatever. He was just yelling at us because he was stressed out because we were behind. Like, we weren't doing very good because we were all new cooks. We were just trying to figure it out. Next thing I know, he pulls us all into the chill. We're all sitting there. It's like me and 3 other people, and he's just staring us down. He got like the smoke coming out of his mouth from the hot air. We're like, oh shoot, this isn't gonna be good. And he just sits there and, like, in a calm voice, he asks, like, what happened? And this girl next to me, she was also new. She got hired right along with me. She's like, chef, I was stressed. I couldn't do it. Then all of a sudden, this guy just goes off. He's like, you think that was freaking stressful? I'll show you freaking stressful. I was in the Marines. I freaking got shot at. I want you to know what that's like. This is nothing. It was insane. He just went off yelling for like 5 minutes like that, laying into us. The second, like, right before he ends, while he's yelling at us, he's like, if this was old me, I would have fired you all right now. I would have told you to get the frick out of my kitchen, never come back. But luckily I'm nicer now. And I'm like, what the frick? This is a nicer version of the guy. Like, what was he like before? But frick, I kept going. I didn't get fired that day, luckily. And I started pushing my weight. I started learning how to do things so that we weren't getting killed in the kitchen. But after those first few experiences, I have way more with this guy, but those were some of the first 2 where I just got yelled at and just, oh my gosh, I got laid into. But now this guy has become my mentor, where he's the one that's teaching me everything, not just about food and culinary, but about business, about life. He's teaching me how to do things and why we do things in different ways. He's teaching me different ways to think, different ways to accomplish our goals and to work together and to improve ourselves. Like, this dude has changed my life. It's pretty awesome. But I had to go through hell first. I had to earn his trust and show, like, hey, I'm somebody that can work hard. I'm somebody that will pull my weight. I'm somebody, I'll go through all of this with you. I don't care how much you yell at me. I don't care how much I screw up. Just keep teaching me and I'll become better. And now, here I am 5 years later with the same crazy chef, but man, still having good experiences with him. Not getting yelled at quite as much anymore. But those were some of my stories, some of the things that I did, some of the risks I took, and I feel like they totally paid off so far.
I don't think I've ever seen the site. If you guys missed the first episode, so me and Landon, we actually work in the same place, and so we have the same chef that used to be a wacko. Which I'm sure he's still a wacko, but
Yeah,
I just
he
haven't
is.
seen the site of that whack yet. Well, not as much, because I remember when I first started, I think it was like this year. I think he wasn't too crazy, you know. I'm just like, he roasted me pretty bad. He kind of tell me of all the 101 things that I did wrong, but you know, it's all part of learning, you know, it's all part of growing. I'm sure he was like I'm sure like somehow he was a better boss than I had before, because I had a boss who, you know, I think it was 2 times his wife. So I don't think anything can be as bad as a boss who 2 times his wife. And so yeah, and I had to find it out. Like, I'm a worker, I'm not supposed to know this kind of crap, but I still think that it's so true that you in order for you to be successful, you have to go through some kind of hell. And I'm sure for Landon, he went through the hell, and I didn't have to go through the crazy of level of hell, but I went through a lot with this chef as well. With this wacky crazy side. Sometimes I feel like when you reach to the point where you can just do whatever the crap he wants, because like and he when I was there, I rarely see him. Like, he was rarely working with me side to side. I work with Landon more than the chef, so I don't know. But he's crazy though. I'm sure you guys don't know who this crazy guy is.
Yeah, but I guess I'll give a little bit of background as to some of the reasons why I chose him as a mentor, even though I knew he was
A wacko.
yeah
Wacko and hate.
freaking worse than Gordon Ramsay, honestly. But so this guy, he has been in the culinary industry for about 20 years. He's worked for people like Jean Georges in a 3-star Michelin restaurant out in New York City. He's been a personal chef for different billionaires. He worked for Will Smith and a few guys like Mark Zuckerberg and all that craziness. Like, this guy had a pretty good resume going on. I'm like, I feel like I can learn some stuff from this guy. So I put aside all of the craziness, all the stories that I heard, and all the stories that I ended up going through, and I trusted that this guy who had so much experience in the field that I like, that I'm passionate about, that he'd be able to share some of that knowledge with me. And I feel like that really helped me out. Like, all the time, he tells me, like, while I'm here in college, like, yeah, I should get my degree or whatever, but the degree means nothing without experience. So that's the problem that a lot of college students face. Like, you graduate with, you have your diploma, you have your bachelor's or whatever, you go to your job and they're like, oh, we need 4 years of experience before you can get this manager's position. And then you're like, well shoot, like, I don't have 4 years of experience, I just have a degree. They're like, all right, good luck, you gotta go be a clerk or whatever, go start at the bottom with everybody else. But this guy, or my boss, he would always tell me, like, experience trumps everything. So while I'm working here in college, I'm gaining my 4 years of experience that I need. I'm gaining the experience on top of anybody who might have gone to culinary school. Like, yeah, sure, they may have learned something different than whatever I'm learning here in the kitchen. But this guy, he's my teacher. He's the one showing me everything. He went to culinary school too. He's just expressing everything to me in a different way than the classroom. He's teaching me one-on-one, in person. He's showing me how he creates things, how he makes things, and how we can develop things in a different way, which is pretty cool. It's pretty unique. Like, I feel like I almost have an advantage over anyone that has gone through culinary school, just because I have this experience on top of them already. Like, I've been working my whole time in college, and a lot of people say that's probably a big mistake, that you should be studying more, but I feel like it's a great opportunity for me, that it's really helped me, and that when I graduate in the next few months or so, that I'll have one step on top of everybody else that I could potentially be competing with in the job market.
I think so true. I think it's all about using opportunities. Like, you can't just listen to what people say. Oh, you do this and you do this. Like what Landon's saying, dude. It's all about the experience, bro. Like, you can get a degree and also be useless because you have like zero experience, right? It's all about making the best of what you have. Getting opportunities, putting yourself out of the way. Like, dude, I know this whack of a chef. So I worked with the chef's brother back in Malaysia, and he was like way nice. Like, he really changed my life. He was a mentor to me, and he told me if I come to Hawaii, like, look for his brother, and he would like mentor me out. But I didn't know he was a wacko till I came here and I got interviewed by him, my first job here in the United States. And I heard stories about him when because he got transferred. So when Landon first worked with the chef, he was in a different restaurant, but now he got transferred to a different restaurant. And so when he interviewed me, like, I didn't know he was gonna be a wacko, but you only know that you're gonna grow so much for wacko, because he'll push you to beyond what you're comfortable with. And I think that's important in choosing your career. Don't find something that's easy, find something that will push you to really mold you to be someone great, because greatness comes through struggle, through refining, and a lot of things, and so that's part of the whole grind. So you grind it out, choose the right mentor, take the risk, and just really understanding that experience, opportunities, triumphs, everything. Right? Degree means nothing if you have zero experience. But with experience and a degree, you're gonna go further than anybody else.
Yeah. And like this is your early 20s to 30s. This is the time in your life to put in all that extra work, all that extra time and hours. This is when you have the most energy that you can freaking push your career as far as you want it. And then if you push hard enough, that's when you maybe get that 40-year-old retirement where you can relax a little bit. You can focus on your hobbies and things that you like instead of just working yourself to death. Like, what we don't want is we don't want to be in the rat race where we're stuck at the 9-to-5 job 24/7. But here now, when we're young and energetic, we want to be learning and pushing ourselves as much as possible. It's okay to work a little bit harder. It's okay to work a little bit longer. It's okay to push yourself, because all of this will compound and it'll make you even better over time. It'll give you a better standing in the future. Like, I guarantee your future self will thank you for all of the hard work that you're doing right now. But guys, just go out there, push yourself, take some risk. Find something that you love. Find something that will help you grow and become better. And I promise you it'll all work out. Like, these are some of our experiences, and later on we'll share even more. But yeah, we just wanted to share what we know already.
So if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, where we'll be posting more content and a lot more coming your way, where we share what we learned, especially us being our 20s, what we have learned, what we have gained in our experience so far in college, in life, in everything in general. So stay tuned. It's just gonna go uphill from here. This is Daryl.
This is Landon.
Checking out. We'll see ya. Peace.